Hey guys, Ralph Havens here, Beyond Limits Physical Therapy in Bellingham in Fairhaven, Washington, Trail Town, USA. And today's video is something I've been pondering about training at a high level. And I've been interviewing a lot of coaches, a lot of runners. I've been watching my son and the team and the other teams in town, and we have state champions in cross country in this town, Bellingham. And I'm seeing some stuff that I want to talk about, because there's different ideas around training, around how to train a distance runner, a middle distance runner. You know, the 800, 1500, the mile, of course, is like the 1500, the 2 mile, the 5K. How to train these guys. And there's different kinds of runners. You know, I think if anybody says they have a system that everybody can benefit from, I would be pretty leery of that, because there are different types of runners. You know, you look at the UW guys, and Aaron Powell and his wife, they have quite a few different types of milers. There's the speed guys, the guys with the big kick, there's the strength guys. Same with the guys from UNC that are now at Nike Swoosh. You know, there's Parker Wolf, who is more of a distance kind of guy and a rhythm runner, and there's Ethan Strand with a killer kick, and then of course you've got Mike Smith, I would say one of the best of all time coaches at NAU and now Nike Swoosh. And what he's done with Nico Smith is amazing, and developed a kick. But he didn't start off like that. He started off as a strength guy. So how do you train the runners? And I'm going to talk about one particular type of runner, because it's dear to my heart. It's what I feel I was as a distance runner, and what I see in a lot of kids. And this is the idea. It's based on Jack Daniels, but it's kind of, it might be modified a bit. So I would love to hear what you guys think about training. If there's videos that I should watch from all these different great coaches or runners, or if you have some ideas, let me know, because we're a student of this sport. And the thing is, I've seen a lot of high school kids that run their best times as freshmen and sophomores, and girls who run their best times as 8th and 9th graders. And so I'm like, what is that all about? I've even seen, you know, 800 meter guys who ran their best 800 as juniors in high school, and yet they're still in college and they're on scholarship and they're running, but they haven't run any faster. So what is that all about? Because a kid should get faster just by waking up, of course. You know, you have more testosterone, you grow up. So what do you do? And so this is one version that I find very useful, very safe for us, for my boy, and for our training, and I want to see what you guys think. So the idea is there's 4 phases, and you know, if you've studied Jack Daniels, you know about this. Some people don't really buy into this, and they just go speed and hard year round. But the first phase is just gentle running, and we have the best place on earth. You know, it's not altitude, but we have trails that go on for miles on soft forest paths, and so gentle mileage that you build over the years, you know, 30 miles a week, and then you get older, 40 miles a week, 50, 60. You build to what your level is, and what you can tolerate and benefit from, but you don't overcook it. So distance, mileage counts. Mileage always counts in our world. And then rest. You got to rest. So you can't just go run the mileage hard, and you can't just run super long every single day. It's not like being an ultra runner. You got to rest, because we know from the scientific studies, if you go hard multiple days in a row, your testosterone actually drops. So it's like an anti-steroid. And so we want to make sure we rest. And we've heard the great coaches say, you know, you're a worse runner after a workout, a hard workout or a hard race, unless you rest. The will to win is nothing without the will to sleep, the will to rest. So I think Uma Ikanga, the great marathoner from Tanzania many years ago, said something like that. So first phase is this distance phase, where what you're doing is you're resting your adrenals, the cortisol systems in your body, the stress systems, the emotional systems, the kidneys, where you have your life force energy, your adrenals, your prostate or uterus if you're a woman, a prostate if you're a guy, the liver, all the systems that react to stress and deal with stress and are responsible for hormones. You know, your liver makes your cholesterol, and with sunlight it turns it into hormones, the melatonin, so you can sleep and recover, the testosterone, all the women's hormones, that are in everybody, but you know, all the hormones are made from the liver and sunlight and good food. So so how do we optimize that? We got to rest. So the distance phase with the rest, and then we do strides. So strides at mile race pace, but really with plenty of rest in between to give us so we're just working the speed system, but without working any other system. So strides every week, a few times a week, maybe some uphill strides. And then we like a little bit of speed towards the end of the phase one workout, which is short 8 or 10-second bursts at pretty close to all out up a little hill with plenty of rest, like 2 minutes rest in between each rep, only like 4 of them. We're just training the system to know what it's like to fire, to get this thing going. So that's phase 1. Then phase 2 and 3 are the bulk of the harder training, and that's when we add in tempo. If you know tempo, threshold, some sub-threshold, cruise intervals, that sort of thing with the shorter recovery, and you can increase the volume of that as you can tolerate, of course, with rest on either end of those workouts. And then you add in a little more speed, which is repetition running, mile race pace, 100s, 200s, 300s maybe. We don't go much more than that, just because we don't want to stress another system. We just want to stress the speed system. So we go with the repetition running once a week in that phase 2, phase 3. We start to add in some races, which is, instead of doing what's called VO2, we like the idea of just, if you're going to run hard, just run a race and then test it. Rest a little bit before, rest a little bit afterwards. It gets you a lot of, you work all the systems with a race, so you start to put in some races. You don't peak too much, but you do take time off before and time off afterwards because you want to keep the testosterone up. Then phase 4 is when the fun stuff happens, when you get to race the championship races, the bigger races. And so what we do is in the beginning of that phase, you know, it's a 3 to 6 week phase, I would say. In the beginning, we're dropping the mileage about to 80% of what we've been doing. And if we're running, like, say, 10 reps of something, instead of doing 10 reps, we're doing 8 reps. And if we're taking a minute rest, we're taking a minute and a half or 2 minutes rest. So we're increasing the rest, decreasing the amount, and we're just keeping the speed the same. Then the next part of the phase 4 is when the big races happen, and that's when we go to 60% of volume, 60% of interval. So if you're used to doing 10 reps, for example, you're doing 6 reps, and you keep the rest bigger. So instead of a minute rest, we're now at a minute and a half or 2 minutes rest. So we're doing very few reps compared to the hard training, and more rest, and we're getting very bouncy, getting excited. We're still doing the speed repetition running, and we're doing the faster running, like 150s with progression, and working on that last 50, 80 meters with the fast stuff, but with lots of rest. So after that, you know, we run some races, see how that goes. You can extend that race phase out longer, and then you can just shut it all down. So after that, it's a week or two, really 2 weeks off, and then start back with phase 1 and just running these beautiful trails. And so that's the idea that we have. It's for, I would say, a runner that's kind of more of a distance kind of guy, a rhythm guy or girl, and still can develop speed. So it's probably different if you're a real, you know, 800, 400, 800 kind of guy or girl. Might be different systems for that. But I'd like to hear what you guys think, because that's where I'm at right now. And of course, we iterate and modify in ways as we learn more stuff, and we want to learn from all the coaches. So if you know Mike Smith or Mike Scannell or Mittendorf or Ed Eyestone or some of these guys, Jerry Schumacher, the Powells, I would love to get more information. So please drop links below of where I can learn more. If you know people, I've been interviewing people, and I'd like to learn more from you guys. So again, this is Ralph Havens, physical therapist in Bellingham, Washington, in Fairhaven. And one last thing that I see is sometimes the runner just gets injured. We've had some guys that did have their best races in as sophomores that I've seen, but I've talked to the coaches, and it's because they keep getting injured. They call them fragile. Well, we've got an answer for that. If you keep dealing with stress reactions, bone bruises, anemia problems, there's a reason. And my expertise is I can put my hands on and find the root cause of these sorts of things, and then do techniques to fix it up, give you lifestyle changes to make it better, and get you back to running, back on the trails, back to where you can enjoy life. And it's fun to run, and it's fun to run fast. So reach out to me if you need some help, and let me know what you guys know. I really want to know. Thanks.